Otto Hightower once called Daemon a second Maegor the Cruel. Well, specifically, Otto calls out how Daemon is impulsive and violent. And if we go further than what Otto said, we can look at various connections between Daemon and Maegor. Hi guys, Forgotten Wolf here, and today I'm going to be answering the question: if made king, would Daemon have become a second Maegor the Cruel? And does he already represent a second Maegor the Cruel? Before we begin, I just want to say impulsive means acting or done without forethought. And with that little intro out of the way, let's begin. Now, Otto calling Daemon impulsive and violent is obviously a ploy by Otto to get Viserys to disinherit Daemon and make Rhaenyra the heir to the Iron Throne. We can pretty much ignore that. However, Otto's words do hold true here. Throughout House of the Dragon, in each season, Daemon performs an action that is impulsive and violent. In season 1, Daemon kills Vaemond Velaryon out of pretty much nowhere, which is kind of impulsive and violent. Rhaenyra didn't even tell Daemon to kill Vaemond. Daemon just did it. Now, Vaemond was marked for death anyway, but we can go even earlier in season 1 to prove my point, where Daemon calls the dead baby Baelor the heir for a day. An incredibly impulsive and stupid move that came out of nowhere from Daemon, that he didn't even stop to think what he was going to say, and it cost him a throne. That's just so stupid. And when the Dance of the Dragons breaks out in season 1 and 3, Daemon is insistent on burning the Greens and shedding the blood of thousands just to kill 10 people? Not even? I think the most important piece of evidence here is to prove that Otto was correct on his assessment of Daemon was blood and cheese. Daemon telling blood and cheese a son for a son is incredibly kind of impulsive, but also incredibly stupid. The question raised by the two of what if they can't find Aemon is a very valid one, and Daemon gave an incredibly reckless and stupid answer. The answer should be obvious. If you can't find Aemon, kill King Aegon or the Hand of the King, Otto Hightower. Both weaken the Green's position, but not going after them allows them to go after young Jaehaerys, since he is pretty much already the easy target, and it only increased the Green's positions. Daemon's line to son for a son directly fits the meaning of the word impulsive. And as for violent, Daemon is proven to be violent throughout the show, and that's also what makes him a badass in my opinion. I'll move past what Otto says, and more so into the better evidence between Maegor and Daemon, the connections. Evidence number 1, or really number 2, Daemon and Maegor both go to war with the Faith. Maegor infamously wars with the Faith Militant in the Faith Militant Uprising, which is well documented, and that could be a video for its own. Let me know in the comments if you guys do want to see that happen, by the way. Anyways, throughout the show, Daemon clearly doesn't believe in gods, thinking the Targaryens to be like gods themselves. And Season 3 presents us with even more evidence, specifically Episode 5 of House of the Dragon, Season 3, where Daemon mocks Rhaenyra for praying to the Faith and pretty much spits on the gods of the Seven. And the Faith is also aligned with the Hightowers and the Dance of the Dragons. It is really a war of religions if you look at it extremely closely in the books. Daemon and the Blacks believe themselves to be closer to gods thanks to their dragons, whereas the Greens are all devout followers of the Faith of the Seven. Daemon is going to war with the Hightowers and the Faith as Maegor did a while ago. In this war, Daemon and Maegor both start at Dragonstone, but they do take King's Landing, and it's also thanks to Maegor and, later Daemon, that the Faith don't really do anything until Season 5 of Game of Thrones. Just think of that. The connection between the two of them is really there. On to evidence number 3 now. Their undying loyalty for their brothers, who were both king, and when they died, they went to war with their brother's sons. Maegor's brother was obviously King Aenys I, and Maegor famously rode to his defense twice, being once in an uprising for the Faith and another one in the Riverlands, I think. Daemon rides to his brother King Viserys I. Guess how many times? Twice. Now, the first time was Daemon's war in the Stepstones, where he crushes the Triarchy and wins in a short time. The second time, I would argue, is when Rhaenyra and Daemon go to King's Landing to defend Lucerys' claim to Driftmark. This I'm going to explain in detail here. Viserys is very clear in his judgment and opinion on the succession of Driftmark. Lucerys Velaryon is going to inherit Driftmark. However, the Greens and Daemon Valerian challenge Viserys' rule and defy his command by trying to get Driftmark to pass through Vaemond. Daemon is ultimately the one who enforces Viserys' command by killing Daemon Valerian. Maegor and Daemon are both fiercely loyal to their brothers and the rest of their family, despite going to war with their families. And both Maegor and Daemon, you can really kind of pass off as the enforcer of their brother's command and rules. Maegor and Daemon's actions make it so their brother's succession is enforced and the family name survives. Maegor by taking the crown and crushing the faith, while Daemon kills Jaehaerys and Aemond, making sure that the Greens have no male heirs, making Rhaenyra's kids the true heirs to the Iron Throne, no matter which way you look at it. At one point, both Maegor and Daemon do have the chance to kill their brother and take the Iron Throne, but neither do because of their undying love for their brothers and their loyalty to their elder brothers. Evidence number 4. Both Maegor and Daemon marry their nieces. This evidence really comes from George R.R. Martin, but it's a very specific detail. Daemon and Rhaenyra are long portrayed as, while looking as marriage more of a political arrangement, you could if you could make an argument for them loving anyone, it'd be each other. They love each other, and it's kind of a natural union, which is disgusting because they're uncle and niece. But why does George establish in Fire and Blood that Maegor married his niece, Princess Rhaena Targaryen? It's a very, very interesting detail that really asks the question, why? And in both cases, their wives outlive them. Rhaena Targaryen outlives Maegor and Rhaenyra, although briefly, she does end up outliving Daemon. Why would George make this so? My guess, it's to connect Maegor and Daemon to show they are very much alike. But now to my final piece of evidence being how they are viewed in the history of Westeros. In the history books, from what we learn in the Game of Thrones books, both are largely viewed as similar people, and being that they were horrible, cruel, and violent, despite both men securing the Targaryen claim. It's very intentional to be like this. It's meant to parallel Maegor the Cruel to Daemon. It makes Daemon seem awful, but he's not, and that's where Maegor and Daemon differ, is that Daemon has more of a conscience and is human. Daemon loves people and can be tamed despite his violent tendencies and his past and everything presented in this video. Daemon is incredibly loyal to his niece Rhaenyra, will do anything for her and her sons, regardless of her bastards Jace, Luke, and Joffrey, or their kids Aegon and Viserys. It's the loyalty that Maegor never had towards any of Aenys' kids. It's really special. This makes Daemon one of my favorite characters, honestly. He's a badass, sure, but he is an incredibly complicated character, and I guess that's why George loves him too. Daemon you can say he's one of the cooler people in Westeros, but deep down, he is a good guy. It makes Daemon so fascinating, as the debate over whether Daemon is a second Maegor the Cruel is so complex. There's a lot of evidence going both sides. But what is my opinion on whether Daemon is a second Maegor the Cruel? I think Daemon is a second Maegor the Cruel, but before you rush to dislike the video, I think you could say Daemon's like the good version of Maegor the Cruel. Daemon's wars, in the long run, helped the realm despite the bloodshed, because, come on, you cannot say that the High Towers and the Greens would have helped the small folk in the long run. Whereas the Blacks, they do care for rebuilding the realm. The people that survive the Dance of the Dragons rebuild the realm. That does it for me, and this was actually a really fun video to make. Let me know what you guys think on if Daemon is the second Maegor the Cruel, and I'd also like to thank Video Books 3 for his short on the topic, which really got me thinking and led me towards making this video. Let me know what other topics from Game of Thrones you want to see in me make, so let me know in the comments. But right now, the next upload is part 2 of what if Rhaenyra and Daemon were at King's Landing when Viserys died. But until then, bye!